Hello! I should now be live. So let's go into the vehicle assembly building and we can start. Getting a little bit late. Here we go. So, building the Space Launch System from NASA. It's the rocket that will be, hopefully soon, taking astronauts back to the moon. And today, as said in the title and description, I'm going to be taking it to the Mun, doing a little flyby. And if I get everything sorted, there we go. It's a bit of a weird setup as... Right, so, make sure everything's working. Yep. All's good. There's my cursor. So, first thing, I'm going to build the Orion capsule. So, there we go. If you're doing this build yourself, you will need the Making History expansion. It's necessary for a lot of the parts. So, I'm going to toggle the flag off. There we go. First thing I'm going to do is turn on 3x symmetry and grab parachutes, so I don't forget. Probably won't be needing drogue chutes. I have been doing other things in this save file, so don't know if we'll actually have Jeb, Bill and Bob for this mission. Let's take a look. Crew, and yeah, Jebediah, Bill and Bob all in there. So, name the craft. Just simply SLS, because that's what I'm building. Now, we need a docking port. Consoles haven't quite gotten the 1.12 update yet, so if you're normally a PC player watching this, some things probably will be missing. That looks good enough. Although, if I pull up a picture of the Orion capsule, let's see. So yeah, this is live. There probably will be playback, but yeah, that looks about right. So, capsule, next thing we need is a heat shield, 2.5 meter heat shield. There we go. And the launch escape system. So, putting that decoupler on backwards, so when we jettison the launch escape system, it will take the decoupler with it, and it won't be left attached to our docking port, otherwise we won't be able to dock. Although we won't be doing anything like that today, just sending it on a flyby. And just saying, can you hear the music? Give me a minute. No, it looks like you can't. Why's that happened? Give me a minute. Right, there we go. That should be working now. And I'll turn it down a bit so you can still hear what I'm saying. Right. So you should be able to hear what the game's doing now with the music. It's all nice. So I'm going to pop some struts on so it doesn't look weird with it all being all floaty. Above the command module, and let's see. Will it let me clip these in? Not on there. What if I do it this way around? No, it doesn't like that. No, it doesn't like that either. Right, so looks like we will just be doing it this way then. And I'll move these into a bit of a better position. There we go. Been playing on consoles since March of 2020 and I still haven't got the controls right. There we go. So, now the European Service module. So, probably not that decoupler. There we go. And let's go with that fuel tank first. Then that one. There we go. Then I'll put a Terrier engine on bottom. Let's see. Roughly where's our centre of mass? Actually on the capsule. Brilliant. Right, not quite what we wanted. Just put some RCS thrusters on that would normally help with docking. Move them a little closer. Yeah, we don't yet have the 5 nozzle RCS thrusters. And actually, no, I'll do them later because I need to put the solar panels on first. I saw on another video that you can do 6 times symmetry and then you can remove that one from symmetry and that one from symmetry and then delete the panel. So when you extend the solar panels, somewhat realistic angle, and put them to an action group. Normally do action group 10, quite easy to get to and allows us to choose other action groups for other things. Right, RCS thrusters. If you press X and A on the Xbox, it allows you to duplicate parts. I think for PlayStation the controls are in a similar position, but they might be slight, like the actual thing, the buttons, there we go, if I can speak English today, won't be the same because, you know, PlayStation different to Xbox. Right, so that's the European Service module and the launch escape system done. Going to grab a photo of the SLS and its upper stage, the exploration upper stage, and looks like it has a fairing that covers the Orion capsule and the rest of the stage. So let's see what I can do with that, because I'll put a decoupler on that Terrier engine and then sort the staging out. Put that up there. So after we ignite the second stage, we can get rid of the, what's it called, the launch escape system. That's it. I really can't English today. Right. Looks to be the same width as the capsule itself. So, just thinking, does something like, no, we don't want it like that. See. Something like that looks somewhat how we want it to. I'll turn off fairing expansion and also actually having it staged, because I think it just pulls away. Then, looking at the photos, be one of these tanks, then one of the, I'm going to go with the smaller sort of Gemini size tanks and offset it down. Is that? No, I think it's the smaller one. Move it down a bit. There we go. So then can do the struts going between the two. It's one set. And another set. And what I'm also going to do is, just to make it a bit more realistic on how the fuel can actually get down to the engine, I'll add a fuel duct going down into the other tank, and it also looks like there's some other circular stuff. So, shall I think, should I do monopropellant or those dumpling tanks? Looking at it, they've got the tanks shaped like these, but they're a bit too big. As well as the monopropellants, I think. Let's see, the monopropellant tanks, and let's also go with some of the more silver dumpling. Actually, the dumpling tanks are bigger, but looking at it, it doesn't look particularly cluttered. So I think I might just leave it how it is, or maybe run 2 fuel lines either side, because one would be for your fuel. I think it runs on hydrogen. If it doesn't, I'm sure someone will correct me. Then we want the cheetah engine, this one here. Although, looking at it, like the thickness of it, no, that looks about right actually, yeah. So far, we've got this bit here. We've got launch escape system, capsule, the European service module, and the exploration upper stage. So, now we need to do the actual main bit. So we want not that one, this one for the cheetah engine. So then that there. Then we'd want the 3.75 meter fairing, which it sort of does, it tapers off orange over the over the top, like over the second stage. Why isn't it? Let's see, will it let me do this now? So it's sort of looks a bit orangey, well, orange, using former space shuttle parts or things left over from the space shuttle. Then it's also got another fairing that goes properly around the whole thing, which I think might actually be that one there. If I get this, thing is that won't go past the capsule, so what I'm thinking is close that there, still have it as not staged, and build a fairing like this that sort of goes around, if that makes any sense. So I think I'll terminate that fairing there, and I think I might see if I can get this one to, hang on, fairing expansion off, then see if I can build this one sort of around it. There we go. It doesn't look entirely realistic though, which is annoying. So, what I might do is have this how it was, just going to there. Delete that fairing, move that down, and then put another one in place that sort of goes around it, another of the 2.5 meter ones. Although that still doesn't look how I'd want it to. So what I could do is the cheetah engine, disable that shroud, move that up, and build this fairing sort of around the whole thing. Turn snap mode off there. Then like that, and make that a white fairing. Does that look better? Yeah, that looks better to me. Have it 4 sizes. Say clamshell deploy on. We'll also turn on the expansion. So what should happen is from animations I've seen, I'm not too sure where this launch escape system jettisons. So I'd have to have it below the second stage. So that fairing goes off, the second stage goes, and then all of that. Which means if I go into the abort action group, have that to activate, that decoupler to, well, decouple, then this fairing deploys, should pull the capsule away. And I'll also turn down the thrust limiter, because what I'm also going to do is have the engines on the first stage shut down, which we can build now. And yeah, it won't look entirely realistic, although the block 1B doesn't have that orange taper. It just goes basically how it is here. So I think I can get away with it. So I will turn that orange, and then how's that lengthwise? I can't fit it all in the same frame, but it looks somewhat realistic. And what I think I will do is actually have that as 2 sides and just increase the ejection force a bit. So I can put a NASA flag on it, like it is on the 1B cargo. They've got a NASA flag. It's not the 5 meter one, it's the 3.75 meter one. Have it landscape. Set the flag to the NASA logo. Quite large, and then the transparent background, and I also remembered I need to radial 2. There we go. NASA logos on each side. At the moment only 902 meters per second of delta V, but when we whack that engine on the bottom, that should be fine. So come down, and Mammoth. What does that give us? 5,218 meters per second. That is more than enough than we need. Plus we're going to have the solid rocket boosters as well. That's more realistic, although it does look like this stage will be able to get us all the way into orbit, so there we go. So we will need to use the other stage a little bit. I'll also auto-strut that to the root part, and I'll do that with all the fairings as well, since we don't want our rocket flopping about everywhere. That will not be a good idea. And then what I like doing is with the command pod auto-strutting it to the heaviest part as well. I don't know if it helps, I just do that. So, going to launch, and let's give the launch escape system a bit of a test. Loading in. Let's see, the music stopped. Oh, hello! Right. Loaded in, we got Jeb, Bill and Bob, which didn't really want. I'll just do a bit of a pad abort test and see if it works. So, how long have we been live for? Half an hour, according to my timer. Right. So, turn on SCS by pressing B, and 3, 2, 1. No, that's turned the map on. That often happens. There we go. There we go, parachutes around. Granted, we didn't get too far away from the rocket, but that shouldn't really be an issue. There we go. I was trying to make the launch escape tower burn for longer, but it doesn't seem like that's worked. So I think I might just have it go a bit faster to get us a bit further away from the rocket. There we go, that should be fine. Should get to blow the whole thing up soon. And what I'm also going to do is just take that off for a minute and spin that round so they're basically pointing the right way, although that does mean that our logos aren't in the right place. Oh well, we can get rid of them, since the actual 1B with crew doesn't have them. Right, scroll down all the way to the bottom. Hello, Mammoth engine. 2 times symmetry. And let's have a look. How close are the boosters to the actual thing? Pretty much touching, so instead of that decoupler, I'll use the hydraulic detachment manifold. And you can go above the engine. There we go. And let's see. I think I'll go the Clydesdale boosters. Although they don't really have their upside down. Why are they upside down? If I put those decouplers on upside down. There we go. Don't want the boosters firing upside down now, do we? And they're wonky as well. Right, this is the thing I don't like about that hydraulic detachment manifold. You can never get radially attached parts where you want them first time. No, wrong way. There we go. Are they... They actually look on the pictures like they're a lot smaller. But these ones might work. Let's see. These are the 2.5 meter size rocket boosters. Let's see. Auto strut them. How much delta V does that go? It's 4,621. Although they do, there we go. I'll also take some of the solid fuel out of these. Just to give us a longer burn on this stage. So you add more fuel into that. Let's see. That should give us what we need. Check my handy dandy delta V map. We need 5,120 meters per second of delta V to get to the Mun and back, but that's if we're landing, not just doing a flyby and not landing using a separate lander. So I think we'll be fine. So let's do a in-flight abort test. Loading, loading, loading. One thing about KSP, they do have rather long loading screens. Although it's a big game. It is rocket science making this, so can't really fault the devs. Plus, I'm running it on an Xbox One S, which has regular hard drive, not an SSD. Right then, turn the lights on. 3, 2, 1, lift off. Here we go. We are flying. Not quite spaceward bound, but we're flying. Make sure that our thrust to weight ratio is around 1.5. That gives us the most efficient power to my thrust to weight ratio. And there we go, 100 meters per second. So we'll start pitching forwards. The Clydesdale and the Mammoth engine both have gimbal. So it makes it quite easy for us to pitch over doing our gravity turn. Don't want it to be too sharp, but we also don't want to keep pointing straight up. So I'm going to wait until the solid rocket boosters have been detached, since you can't shut them down after they've been ignited, just like the real ones. Flying along, there they look somewhat happy to be here. Although I've done a bit of testing in this save file. It's not the same one that I've used for my other KSP videos. Kerbal Space Program decided that I didn't want that save file anymore, which it sometimes does. It's annoying, but you just have to live with it, really. So, new save file. Been doing some testing. I already killed Jeb, Bill, Bob, and Valentina. as well as 2 other Kerbals that I hired. There we go, that's 10,000 metres, bang on 45 degrees as we should be. Mammoth engine is now doing pretty much nothing, since the solid rocket boosters are doing most of the work. Although they are about to flame out. Yeah, there's not even a plume, and that bright bit of light there, I think that's Minmus. So, throttle up a bit more now, go on to regular stability assist, SRB flame out, and detachment. So, something's wrong with the Mammoth engine, it's just cut off, we need to abort. There we go. Let's pull this away. We can now wait. So, yeah, that works. So, going back into the vehicle assembly building, let's think, is there anything that I have forgotten to include? Yes, monopropellant tanks for the European service module. So, go all the way back up to the top of the rocket. Let's see. Normally these would all be inside, but I don't really want to clip them in. Then again, I do want to keep it looking somewhat like the real one. So, sure you'll excuse me. Plus, do these have... No, seeing if any of these tanks have a normal just white. It would be really nice if you could actually, you know, paint the tanks like the colour you wanted. Doesn't really matter for these orange tanks because we want them orange and they've got them orange, but for these other ones, really prefer if they are in white. And also going to add some gas thrusters. What are they called? The Werner engines. Yeah. Oh, they're called Veer Governor or Werner engines. I thought they were named after Werner von Braun, but never mind. Should give us a bit more control authority when flying. So then, shall we send it to the Mun? Also, I've just noticed our launch escape system pushes us off to the side and we don't... No. Don't want that happening. There we go. And the struts are also going all weird as well. There we go. Right then. I think that is everything. Ah, batteries. Right. We're probably going to have solar power most of the way, although batteries are always nice to have. And also a way to communicate with Kerbin, which the rocket does have. It's the actual antenna inside the capsule, but seeing where does the real one have any kind of antenna? It doesn't look like it does, so let's go with the one it's got inside the capsule then. And all of that looks good. I'll bring it a bit closer to the floor. And launch clamps. Let's add some launch clamps. Come on, there they are. Launch stability enhancers. That stage there. And then same stage. There we go. They should hold our rocket nice and steady while we're waiting for it to launch. Our launch escape tower is a bit sideways. We've got a crooked rocket. We don't want that. No. No. There we go. That's... got rid of the fairing, didn't it? Right, trying to undo that. Let's see. That somewhat works. I guess I'll just put a new one on then. Right, you are going to this stage. There we go. And activate engine, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then do the one on the mammoth engine. Shouldn't need to use this. And also, is this music quite loud? Can you actually hear what I'm saying over this music? Probably not. I'll turn that down a bit. There we go. That should be a bit better. There we go. Right then. So I'm currently looking at this screen through OBS on my computer, since my USB splitter hasn't turned up yet. Quite handy because I can look at the game and OBS at the same time. So let's launch. We got Jeb, Bill and Bob on board. So should be near enough ready to send them to the Moon. As I said earlier, just going to be a flyby. We're not planning on doing any landings, although if we've got the Delta V, I will see about entering orbit and orbiting a couple times. They can have a good gaze at the Moon before returning home. So there we go. I am going to time warp until the morning. Where is it? There's a button here somewhere for it. Although yeah, I think normally there's a button to time warp to the next morning when you actually on the pad. But I can't find it. There's the Moon there, that's where we're heading. And there we go, daylight, excellent. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. The Space Launch System has left the pad, going to pull up the engine information and information about our orbit. It's essentially a poor man's Kerbal Engineer Redux, which again can't have on console because no mods. well, I'm not too bothered. I do also have Kerbal Space Program for PC, which I sometimes play. I just prefer recording from the console because as much as what I described might sound like a hassle, it actually isn't. Plus, normally I like looking at the big screen and watching my rockets and space stations in all their glory. But can't do that at the moment until my USB splitter turns up. Throttling back to try and get to 1.5. Pretty much where we want to be. Let's see, orbit, well, suborbital trajectory. Wouldn't even call it that at the moment, to be honest. Just like with the in-flight abort test, the Mammoth really isn't doing a lot of work. So I'll hold it at about this throttle for now, until those solid rocket boosters have gone, at which point I can throttle it up to full power briefly to get us away from the boosters. And then I can pop us back down to where we want to be. And those Werner engines are, well, they were working pretty hard to direct us. So each time the SAS icon flashes with those arrows, it means I'm putting input in. And here we go. We've got about 20 seconds or so until those SRBs flame out. Let's continue with our gravity turn. Let's see. I like looking at the arc of our orbit, or suborbital trajectory if you will, as well as monitoring that little screen in the bottom left hand corner for the orbital information, because not only do I know where our orbit is and how far we are from apoapsis, it allows me to actually I am going to decelerate quite a bit. So these are gone. Max power, little bit of max power, and then oh dear, the engine's gone. Right, time to actually use that launch escape system that I said we weren't going to need. Right, Separatrons. We need Separatrons, don't we? Yeah, should have put some of them on beforehand in hindsight. So now we know for next time we need Separatrons. Although for some reason it didn't do it in the launch abort test. Which is strange. Although KSP and its Kraken attacks happen pretty much randomly sometimes. I mean, yeah, if you like abuse auto struts or have like a load of part clipping, you can understand why Kraken attacks happen. Although I think what happened in that last flight was just physics. Physics is brilliant at ruining your day, and look at that shadow. Shadow looks really nice. Right. Let's take off, and now we're on the pad. I'm going to take a screenshot so I can create a thumbnail for a future video where I'm going to actually land on the Mun with this SLS that I've built today. Let's see, just shy of an hour been live for now, and here we go. I won't bother time warping again. Let's see, that looks good. Right, since I've got the ability now to take a screenshot, I will do, although you can't see what I'm doing because all you're seeing is just the somewhat realistic looking space launch system on that launch pad, and listening to my voice if you've not muted me already. But we can get back to the task in hand, which is flying to the moon. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Turn the lights on again. Jeb, Bill and Bob, well, Bob looks rather frightened, he probably remembers what happened last time. Jeb, however, he's loving it. Yeah, Bill's not too pleased now. Probably because of Jeb's piloting skills. And also knowing what the engineering crew have done, which is essentially rather hastily bolting some rocket parts together and hoping for the best. Which is pretty much what you do in this game anyway. Let's see, if I enable the interior overlay. Let's see, how are they looking inside? Oh, inside Jeb's forehead there. Well, they don't look like they're having a whale of a time, but if all goes well, they're going to space today. I'd be happy if I was going to space, and I'm sure you would be as well. Gravity turn, the usual, essentially doing everything that I said in the last launch. Normally, if I was recording this for a normal video, I'd cut out the bits that don't go too well, and they'd normally end up in a blooper segment. But since this is a live stream, I can't do that, can I? So all of my mistakes are on show. Now, if you're enjoying this live stream so far, I'd like to ask that you leave it a like and possibly share it with your friends. If you're not subscribed already, you might want to stick around and watch some other stuff that I've uploaded. This channel isn't just Kerbal Space Program; it is also Flight Simulator, and in the future I'll be doing air traffic controlling on the VATSIM network in the UK. Just waiting for my training to basically, well, happen first, which would be nice. Solid rocket boosters about to flame out. Hold us on the prograde vector. And this is where the Separatrons show their worth. 4, 3, 2, 1 second, and SRB flame out. Right, clean separation of the solid rocket boosters. There's our apoapsis. It's the highest point in our orbit, or, well, not got one at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. Seeing if we can, like, stop those flames from being here. As, well, we don't really want the flames, it means that we're not flying as efficiently as we could be. Although, as we get into thinner parts of the atmosphere, those flames should start to dissipate. Flying pretty much horizontally now to try and get as much horizontal velocity as possible. See, with a rocket, you don't want to go straight up, you want to go across. And, so yeah, reaching space, easy, straight up. Staying in space, sideways, very fast. I have another channel that does, like, educational stuff. Hang on, there we go, that's 100 kilometers. Yeah, another channel that does more, like, educationally videos. And in a video I did cover how the rockets get into space. And also how they get back again. Right, so the flames are starting to dissipate, so I can... there we go. Get rid of that launch escape system. Turn the RCS off, and also... do I... there we go. Breathe. There we go. That should be our orbit. So 1 minute 33 seconds. So 1 minute 60. Give me a minute. So you want to do like half of your burn before and half of your burn after reaching the maneuver node. Normally it's quite easy to figure out. So 50 seconds-ish. There we go. Basically, take your time with your burn and divide it by 2. There we go. We are in space. So, warping up to the maneuver node, and when it gets to T minus 50 seconds in the node in T minus bit, we can perform our orbital insertion burn. 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Cheetah, quite an efficient engine, doesn't have a very good thrust to weight ratio. So, we are getting ourselves into an orbit of Kerbin. And we want to make it as circular as possible, which we are doing. There we go. So, we have an apoapsis of 110, periapsis of 90. See if I can get that a bit more circular. Really want to be as close to curving as possible, but sometimes that isn't really possible. Ideally, you'd want an exactly 70-kilometre orbit, but can't really have that, as chances are you'll end up with a periapsis that's too low or an apoapsis that's too high and stuff like that. So forming a slight correction burn, 14.5 meters per second. I'll do that when we get to around T-minus 6 seconds. So it's a lot of waiting, this game. Also, not really too sure if you can see this, since YouTube compression isn't particularly kind to dark videos. Let's see. Should be able to see what's going on. There we go. Slight correction burn. And there we go. Good enough. Let's time warp into a bit where there's daylight, shall we? So you can see this craft in all of its glory. There we go. Point it prograde. And let's see. There we go. Does actually look quite good, if I do say so myself. It's not the first time I've done an SLS replica, but it is the first time I've done one for a video, and definitely the first time I've done so on a live stream. Although one thing about live streams is can't really take breaks, so I'm going to be taking a short break. I'll be coming back around. So I'm back soon. Bye. Hello, I'm back. So, I'll check the audio volumes, and I want it to be coming through a bit loud, so I'll turn the music down. And I'll turn my microphone down a bit as well. Yeah, here we go. So, I've now got a drink. I can carry on. Right, set them on as the target, so let's see. That's a really long burn. Right. See, where is it going to be in a few orbits' time? About there. Right. I don't actually think we've got a good enough thrust to weight ratio for this. That's because that thrust limiter's all the way down. That'd be why. Right. You see, that's another thing that would normally get edited out. Let's check this again. Let's see. Whoa. Let's see, focus in on the mud. Probably make an en route correction. But right, 1 minute 32 second burn. Get my calculator. 46 seconds either side of the node for that burn. Right. So 46 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. This is going to use up most of the delta V in this stage. So our correction burn will be done with the European service module and its Terrier engine. However, all seems to be going well so far. Positive burn indication. Apparatus is rising. Solar panels are working, which is always nice. Got good electricity. Apparatus is still rising, it's what we like to see. Still going, still going. This is why I like time-lapse, because you don't have to sit through this. Right, so I said earlier about ATC training, and I've just had an email from them saying I can request training sessions, which is nice. But that's not the task at hand. The task at hand is getting to the Mun. So we've got 5.6 meters per second burn remaining, 6 meters per second of delta V. Let's see. And we've ran out of fuel. Right. There we go. Oh, it's being weird. Why is it being weird? Sometimes it's really strange in terms of its like encounters that you can get. It's like, why? Sometimes it works. It's like, yeah, you've got an encounter here and it's all going to be hunky-dory, but when it comes to actually getting there, it's like, you know what? No. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of that altogether. I have a feeling this is actually what they do in the real mission. Do a it's called a free return trajectory, which is essentially, if you do it right, you get into a to a place where the moon's or Mun's gravity will slow you down. Right, there we go, that's the Mun, and we are currently heading straight for it, which is what we want. Right, we'll point ourselves retrograde, and for the fun of it, let's do a crew report. We don't need to do one because this is a sandbox mode save. Crew report, and sure, why not, let's get Bob on an EVA. There we go. It's all, oh, I didn't mean to do that. It's really annoying trying to zoom. Ah, that's the solar panel, we don't want that. Right. So we are free floating. Let's get an EVA report before we float too far from the capsule. Let's get to the capsule, grab on and board. There we go. So we've got enough delta V. Let's capture ourselves around the Mun. So that says 45 seconds. So 45 divided by 2 is about 23 seconds. In comes the Mun. And solar panels still picking up the sun, still generating electricity, which is all nice. Kerbals can now have a good look at the surface through the window. Well, Jeb can. Bill and Bob, sorry. But no window watching for you. It's a bit early for the burn, but oh well. And before the burn finishes, I like to stop it and go a little slower until we actually get fully captured, which there we go. Let's point in towards them on. And currently on the bit of a dark side, and we can't see Kerbin either, which isn't particularly nice. Right. So, let's go to the more brighter side of the month. As we time warp around, you can see our little Orion and European service module in orbit around the Mun. I've really enjoyed building this. I hope you've enjoyed watching me. And can't really stay here for long, because we need to get back to Kerbin. So let's cancel that, and actually I'll warp a bit past that point. So there wasn't really much point in doing that. Right then. So, plan our manoeuvre node to return back to Kerbin. Normally I like to aim for around 30,000, 35,000, something like that. So 20 seconds to the node, and warp to next manoeuvre. We are going to perform a full orbit, so yes, they will get the chance to orbit the Mun before heading home. Yeah, so I've booked the mentoring session with VATSIM UK. So hopefully I should begin practical training, which will allow me to do live streams of air traffic controlling as well, which is another thing that I want to do with this channel. I don't want it to just be KSP or just be flight sim. I want to do both. I enjoy doing both. And I hope that this channel could introduce fans of one to the other. It's like, maybe if you're an avid KSP fan, you might end up deciding to become a virtual pilot or virtual air traffic controller, or if you're interested in this channel because of the flight sim aspect, you might become interested in Kerbal Space Program. It's always nice to get more players of these things and more people interested in these things. But one thing that we'll not be getting more of is time around the orbit of the Mun. So, in about 10 seconds, 8, 7, we'll be burning back for Kerbin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. There we go. Our Terrier engine has ignited. We're beginning our burn to return to Kerbin. Bit of a big burn again. But shouldn't be too bad. And come on. There we go. We are now about to leave the Mun. So, bye-bye Mun. And very shortly we're saying hello to Kerbin. Right, I'm going to time warp a bit closer to Kerbin. Not in the atmosphere though, because sometimes it can glitch and we'll just end up blowing up. But here we come. Towards this blue marble. Separate the service module and spin around retrograde as we approach the atmosphere. Here we go. We're over the desert at the moment. There's the desert airfield. Tasty. There's the Kerbal Space Centre where we launched from, so we went from there to there to now here. Here we go. Sometimes, like, what might happen is we may have to do multiple passes. But because of, you know, physics, we should be able to limit that. So here we go. Apoapsis is decreasing rather sharpish, and time to periapsis is decreasing, however. Do want to come in a bit of a sharper angle. Or does that decrease the apoapsis more? To be honest, not too sure. Although time to periapsis is increasing as we go deeper into the atmosphere. We should go and decelerate quicker. So yeah, Jeb, Bill and Bob still on board. And there we go. Our orbital trajectory line is now inside Kerbin. And yeah, well, we're definitely not leaving the atmosphere again in this spacecraft anytime soon. On the parachutes, and at this point I just end up time warping down because re-entry can be quite a boring phase, to be honest. Here we go, we've not lost that much ablator. You probably can get away with having less of it. So yeah, going down. Parachutes have deployed. Again, I'm just going to time warp into, Well, hopefully not into the ocean, but towards the ocean. Here we go. So we are descending towards the sea, and it looks like we're not going to be ending up in the sea, which is always nice. Don't want this spacecraft to turn into a submarine. Although I have seen people build submarines in this game, it is something that I'd like to try. But it's I think it might be one. It's a bit too out of my ability of building. So there we go. We have now splashed down back on the surface of Kerbin. So let's recover the vessel and see how we've done. I hear crickets. There we go. All the crew back. No science points or anything. But we have been to the Mun and successfully returned. And so, I'd like to thank you all for watching this this stream. Goodbye.